What's up, metalheads? I'm Jamie. This is the Blades and EDC channel, and today we're going to do something a little different. Well, it's not different. I've done it before. We are going to disassemble this beautiful Brian Brown Yeager, and it's a good-looking knife, but it's pretty bland. Wouldn't you agree? Very bland looking. And honestly, I'm surprised the guy that's having this anode is having an anode. I need to clean that blade off. My fingerprints are all over it. But because he's a very monochromatic person, Craig. And we're just going to do a little ano in here. We're going to ano the pocket clip, we're going to ano the pivot collars, and we're going to ano the back spacer. And go ahead and clean it up and lube it up while we got it apart. And I'll do like I did in the last one. I'll disassemble it, get all the parts ready, and then I'll bring you guys back when it's done, or when the ano is done, and we can reassemble it on camera. See how it turned out. The last one I did was Craig's also. It was his Concept Convict. Actually, it's still here. This guy right here. I gotta get all these done so I can send them back to him. Alright, so those look like the same size screws there. I'll leave those together. I know those are the pocket clips. I'm not using my blue thing because I'm doing video, and stuff just doesn't show up that well on. As the video doesn't turn out as good as it does with this gray background. It looks so much better, in my opinion, with the gray background than it does with that blue. Let's see if I can find one of those mats in gray. That would be pretty sick. Everything else is pretty loose. Pivot feels a little tighter. There she goes. Yeah, definitely some Loctite on there. Alright, pivot screw. Get that pivot collar, or stop pin there. We want the pivot collar. We'll just leave those screws right there. Look at all that milling. That's something else I was pretty excited to get here, because this knife has a funky sound to it. It's not your normal titanium sound, and I think it's got to do with all that milling in there that you see. Just a ton of milling. Alright. Get that other pivot collar. There's our pivot collar. Is that going to come out, or I got to take those screws out? And that should come off there. Yeah. Come on. You can do it. Come on. Come on. Why don't you want to let go, you bitch, you? Come on. Alright. Well, you're going to be a stubborn ass, and we'll take the screws out. We'll put those right by those screws so we know exactly where they go on this scale. There we go. Now will you come out? You will, but are those going to come out? Are those titanium? Where's my magnet? Those are not titanium. Did you see that? Watch this. See that? Stand off in there, watch. It's magic. So those are not titanium. So those are the 4 parts we are going to be anoing. So I'm going to go clean these up, ano them. We got little standoffs there to lock on that one, to lock that in place so it won't spin. Right there. See that? Interesting. That's different. So I'm going to go clean these up, put some color on them, these 4 pieces, and I will bring you guys back when I'm done, and we'll actually, let's go ahead and clean it up. That way when I do come back, it'll go a little faster that way. Grab alcohol pads here. Those are some pretty big bearings in this knife. Pretty large, actually. I don't have any skiffs here for this, or I'd go and throw a set in here for him, but I don't have any the right size. I think this is a knife that skiffs would actually make a pretty drastic improvement to. I don't think this, actually, cleaning it and lubing it may help, because as you can see, there's no lube in there. I mean, there's it's dry. That probably has a lot to do with why the action wasn't as good as I think it should be, or could be. Skiffs would probably help also, but just getting it clean and lubing it's probably going to help it tremendously. Gotta get in that hole. Gotta get deep in that hole. Gotta have a clean hole. The detent hole goes all the way through the knife. Never seen that before. Goes straight through. Check that out. Come out the other side. I wonder what the thought was behind that. Keeps gunk from getting stuck in there. Your detent hole can fill up with gunk, and that can make your detent feel really light, a lot lighter than it actually is. So it may actually be a good thing they did there. I think this is the first knife I've ever seen where the detent hole goes straight through the blade. That's a new one to me. Alright. I like the way the stop pin goes all the way through the scale and goes inside the blade like that. Well, not all the way through the scale, but you know what I mean. I just like the way the blade is cut out to hit that stop pin right there. That's pretty sick, actually. Yeah, I like that. And now you can see the detent hole, right? And we put the blue behind it. Goes right through that damn blade. Never seen that before. Maybe a common thing on some knives, but first time I've seen it. This knife isn't dirty at all. It's just dry. It didn't really have any lube in here. I think that had a lot to do with the action. So we're going to make that all better here in just a few minutes. After we add a little color to it, it'll be all better. Alright guys, I'm going to stop you guys. It's going to take me 10 or 15 minutes, maybe a little longer, and I'll bring you back. So it won't last but a few seconds for you, or a second or two. So see you guys shortly. Alright, welcome back, metalheads. Alright, ano has been completed now, and here we go. These still need to be wiped down. So there's our backspacer, there's our pocket clip, here's one pivot collar, and here's the other pivot collar. They look slightly different because the pivot collars had a higher polish on them than the pocket clip and backspacer do. But I think I would leave it that way instead of polishing the backspacer and pocket clip, because the scales aren't polished. Plus these two are two things you're going to touch pretty frequently, and with ano, the more you touch it, it'll fade and you gotta wipe it off constantly. And the pivot collar is not something you're going to be touching a whole lot, so I figure we'll leave it in the same configuration it was in, you know, those polished, those not polished, and I think that's going to work out really good. Alright, so let's put it back together. Alright. Which pivot collar has this? That's the one we need for the lock side. Drop that one down in there. Just like that. Adds a splash of color. We'll wipe it all down when we're done too. Put that blade out of here for now. There's our pocket clip screws. Pocket clip right there. Alright. Alright. So let's get us a bearing here. I guess I can take these gloves off now. I don't need these on. When you're messing with ano, you want to wear gloves because the oil from your skin gets on it after you clean it, and it'll make it turn out terrible. So, and I actually had to do these a few times because I could not, even though I put these two in at the same time on the same piece of titanium wire, I got different colors between the two, so I had to do them individually. I think I ended up with 93 for the pocket clip and 94 for the backspacer to get it as close to even as I could get it. Alright, where's our looby doob? There's the looby doob. We will be using the Pro Shot Zero Friction. Love this stuff. Everything I use is linked below. And I do have a playlist for anodizing, just kind of a short how-to down and dirty playlist if you want to learn how to ano. And in that video, in those videos, there's a list in the description of all the stuff needed to buy to do the ano. Alright, bearing number 1 on there. Alright, get our blade. And that's going to be the detent side, so don't really need to It's not a detent hole. Well, there is a detent hole, but no detent hole that's going to hold any kind of lube in it like a normal detent hole. So I'll just lube the detent track. I need to grab a little more lube. Everything that's going to be metal touching metal, we're going to put a layer on. Should give us much better action. Alright. I'm wondering if they make left-handed versions of these and that's why they put a hole straight through. Could be. I've never seen a left-handed version, but there may be one out there. I should have put that in first, but I think we can still get it in there. Oh yeah, there we go. Alright, drop a bearing right there. Should be done with that now. Alright. I should have screwed these on first, but I think I can still do it. Do them one at a time here. Just get them started basically. Should have done that before I put the blade and bearings on there, but oh well. Yeah, it went fine. You bastard. As I say that, I drop it. Alright. There we go. Alright, throw a backspacer on here. There we go. And pocket clip screws, body screws. Yep, that should be it. We should be good to go. Alright. Pivot collar has those two little pins on it. Gotta get it right in the right spot. There we go. Using a good screw. If you don't have a good screw, get you a good screw or something similar. So much easier to have a free spinning. And I will go back and add Loctite to this, just so you guys know. I'm not doing it right now, but I will after I get it back together. I'll pull it back out and Loctite it once I like how the action is. But if you don't want a good screw, get you a good screw or something similar to a good screw. Good screw is kind of expensive, but there are other options out there. Anything free spinning. Actually, there's going to be one in the next month's knife sale, a little CRKT driver. I think it's made of copper or brass. Alright, let's see what we got here. We are not good yet. That pivot is not all the way in. I can see that already. Yeah, I think I may have to take it back apart. No, we're getting, there we go. There we go. Yeah, the pivot's not sitting down there flush. You see that? The pivot screw is going flush, but the pivot itself is not. And I feel it spinning, so There we go. I think it just locked in. We are pretty much dead centered. Right, let's do the pocket clip on there. I already like it better. It was a little too bland before. A little splash of color goes a long way. Alright, let's check the body screws real quick. Tight. 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 Dead nut centered. No blade play. Let's see if we can back that pivot out just a little bit. I still don't like the way that pivot's sticking out right there. Hold on. That pivot should not be sticking out above that backspacer, should it? I didn't pay it, or the pivot collar. I don't like that. Alright. Plus I got, that's what it is. I got the screw in the wrong side. Duh. No wonder. That's kind of a dumb move, huh? Rookie mistake. I got the pivot going through the wrong way. Duh. Alright, so we will have to take it back apart. But we're just going to do this side and see if we can pull that pivot through. The pocket clip should not need to come back off. Too fat. There we go. Can't believe I did that. That was a rookie mistake there. Pivot needs to go through the other way. It needs to go through this side. It'll work much better. Got lube in it now, it wants to stick. Alright, we're good. We don't need to take it out. Alright. Take two. I had managed to do that too without getting oil all over the titanium. Now I got oil all over the titanium. All right. Wow, I left the pivot collar off. My goodness, guys. Having one of those days. You ever had one of those days? Locked in there where you need to be. You get in there and hold him in there. You go back in here where you go. You get back on here. I'm just going to give you another wipe since you dropped off a couple times. Put you back on here. Alright. Alright. We're good this time, right? Let's go ahead and wipe that down. I got oil all over it. Wipe down that backspacer before I put this other scale back on. Break out the rubbing alcohol here. Some of this is it's crown, so some of it does stick out above the scale, so I want to make sure I get that area nice and clean before I put that scale back on. Alright. Third time's a charm. Alright. We're looking good. Looking good. You guys can't see anything I'm doing because my hand's blocking it, right? Sorry about that. Alright. We are not even close to centered. There we go. It may be a little too much checker action. Still got a little blade play. No blade play. Alright. It only took 3 tries, but eventually I got it. Alright, let's get some rubbing alcohol, more rubbing alcohol in here and wipe her down real good. And we'll lube up the blade too. Before I do any lubing or anything, I'll do that off camera because I'm going to take some pictures first. And I don't want lube all over the blade when I take pictures. Looking pretty good. What do you guys think? We got a little goo on that scale, something there. There we go. Looking good. There's the show side. There's the clip side. Look, I got my hands all over it again. I got oil all over my hands. Just screw the nut in all the way. Had to loosen the other side up. So we got to loosen it up some more. Interesting the way these screws are done. You got to loosen one side to get the other side to go all the way in, and go back and forth till you get it right. Alright guys, that's going to do it. That is a Yeager disassembly with a little splash of color added. I think it looks much better with some color. Especially my fingerprints are all over it, but I'll get this cleaned up and take some pictures and post them. Post a thumbnail with the pictures and put some on Instagram. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you're new, subscribe. Turn your notifications on. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button for me. And I will see you guys on the next one.